right, we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are calling in from. Thanks for joining us here today to talk about fully connected shipping built and fulfilled by Acumatica. My name is Steve Karam. Oh, hang on just a second. My name is Steve Karam. I am the Director of Partnerships and Alliances here with Pacejet. I am also joined, though, by Mark Skelly, who is our account executive. Mark, feel free to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Steve. Hello, everyone. This is Mark Skelly. For those of you who don't know, I'm an account executive here at Pacejet. Been with the company about 2 years and handle the Acumatica channel.
Thanks, Mark. So in terms of today's agenda, what we'll be going through is we're going to talk first and foremost a little bit about who Pacejet is. We'll have some slides that we're going to go through. I'll be running the slide deck portion of today's presentation. Then Mark's going to actually run through the demo. But before we get into the demo, we'll talk a little bit about who we are. We'll talk a bit about what it means to be built and fulfilled by Acumatica, and then talk about why Acumatica shippers ultimately choose Pacejet and what are the benefits they typically see when they implement Pacejet into their Acumatica system. We'll of course go through a demo. We'll take a look at one or two different shipment types. And then after the demo, we actually have an Acumatica Summit giveaway. So I'm looking at the attendees list. I see a couple of folks who were able to join us at the booth last week at Summit. Hope everybody had some smooth travel back, no delays, no hurdles, nothing like that. But we do actually have a giveaway. We're going to be giving away a cooler. So we will handle that here right before the question and answer session after the demo. So of course, after the giveaway, Q&A, if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to pop those into the chat or pop those into the questions section. We will hold any questions until the end and make sure that we go through as many as possible before we wrap up. But then, of course, we'll wrap things up. And if there are any questions, if there's things that people want to dig a little bit deeper on after this demo, we can certainly set aside some time to go through a discovery call, go through an in-depth demo with each of you individually to make sure that all your questions are addressed and you've got a good look at Pacejet if it's something that you want to evaluate. So again, we're going to start off by talking just a bit about Pacejet and who we are. And really, from our perspective, we're really focused on the concept of fully connected shipping here at Pacejet. I know we talked to some of you at the booth last week, but I see some folks that we weren't able to chat with, at least I wasn't able to chat with directly last week. So for those of you who are not familiar, Pacejet is a cloud-based multi-carrier shipping platform. We've been around since about 2003. As of last year, we joined with a company called 3G TMS, which is a tier 1 cloud transportation management system. So now we are one company with the Pacejet multi-carrier shipping platform, as well as being backed up by a tier 1 cloud TMS. So we've got a lot of features, a lot of functionality outside of just getting you a label, printing out shipping documents. We have things like RESTful APIs. We have our carrier network, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. We've got tons of functionality around packaging, whether we're talking about our standard drag and drop packing, scan to pack validation to validate the items that are going into each box and the items that are included in each order. We have customers who use multi-level packaging for more complex scenarios to say, what are the items that are going to go into this box? What are the boxes that are going to go onto this pallet? And provide individual labels for all of those containers. Outside of the packing, we of course manage shipping execution, those carrier connections that we have. We're going to execute the shipments with the carriers, generate your standard paperwork with a lot of those carriers, whether we're talking about labels, whether we're talking about BOLs, parcel freight, domestic, international, you name it. All documents are supported through the Pacejet connection to the carriers and some custom documents that we can create for our customers as well. But in addition to the shipping execution side of things, we do also have quite a few analytics and financial reporting services that we offer to our customers, really letting them dig down, figure out, okay, who are we working with? What are the carriers that we are using? What is our spend? But I think more importantly, what is the level of performance that we are getting with each of those carriers? Are they shipping things on time? Are we getting the best cost wherever possible for the different shipments that we're sending out for the different regions that we're shipping to? Tons of data available within Pacejet to either extract or view in easily readable reports that can be sent directly to your inbox. In terms of Pacejet and some of the differentiators compared to any other system out there, The biggest one for us is really our carrier network. We have the largest direct carrier network of any multi-carrier shipping software in the Acumatica space. Right now, we're sitting at just under 70 carriers. That includes small parcel, whether we're talking about the big three, FedEx, UPS, Postal Service, or we're talking about regional carriers, so Speedy, Canpar, Purolator. They are all connected, all direct connections through our APIs to those carrier networks. We also have connections to freight carriers as well as different services, things like Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime, DHL e-commerce, UPS iParcel. On the freight side, we connect to the top 25 largest LTL providers in the United States. And those, again, are our direct connections to those carriers. There is one significant advantage that we have over a lot of the different providers out there in our connections to 3PLs. And 3PLs are essentially, think of them as brokers. You will have one Pacejet connection to, let's say, C.H. Robinson, Worldwide Express, Seco. But through that single connection, they will provide you access to dozens of different carrier options for a single shipment. So if we're thinking about sending out a freight shipment and you may not have the shipment volume to have negotiated rates and consistent lanes with direct LTL carriers, you can always go to a 3PL. And leveraging a 3PL within Pacejet really opens up the net to communicate with thousands of different carriers. So it is 65, it's actually just under 70 right now, direct carrier connections within Pacejet. But if you are leveraging 3PLs, it opens that up to hundreds and thousands of carriers. Talking a little bit about some of the packing, the shipping functionality, the carrier network that Pacejet has, I wanted to quickly touch on how Pacejet expands Acumatica. Acumatica, being an ERP, primarily focuses on your order management, your accounting, purchases, picking functionality. There's some WMS functionality within Acumatica, but it's really not focused on the shipping execution side of things. There is some native functionality out there for simple domestic small parcel single box shipments, but what Pacejet really does to expand that is, first off, we bolt on our carrier network and make that native to Acumatica. So you automatically have those connections built into Acumatica. You're able to handle shipments in a variety of different ways, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail here in a bit. But that allows customers to be able to package in a variety of different ways, generate your shipping labels for a domestic shipment, generate a bill of lading for a freight shipment, handle things like export documents, handle drop shipping, tracking, having full visibility of all shipment details within Acumatica for a single box shipment or for a multi-pallet shipment. So we can really scale up, scale down to be as simple and as streamlined as you want things to be, or we can help you really manage some very complex scenarios. That's kind of the beauty of Pacejet, is to be able to bolt that on. And as you're growing with Acumatica, Pacejet can scale up and grow with you. So we talked a little bit about what Pacejet does for Acumatica to expand shipping functionality. Now I want to make sure that we talk really about the difference, or the so what for Acumatica users. And so what are those differences specific to Acumatica? I would say our biggest differentiator outside of the carrier network is that our integration to Acumatica is actually built by Acumatica themselves. As of the beginning of this year, we've partnered directly with Acumatica to build out our integration. The Acumatica team has spec'd that out, has built the tie-ins to Acumatica in conjunction with our team spec'ing out and making sure that full functionality is available. But this is a native integration. It's built by Acumatica. What that means is that we're automatically certified. No matter what release you're going to be on, we're going to be one of the first vendors that is certified on that release. But also moving forward, this is going to be a big advantage to folks who use Pacejet with Acumatica, because Pacejet is going to be adding things to our roadmap in terms of features and functionality. And before we even get to certain releases with Acumatica, we're working with their team to be able to make sure that those features, that specific functionality or capability that's on our roadmap, is going to be enabled with that Acumatica integration. So you know that you're getting best-in-class functionality, you are getting the best features wherever possible, and you're really able to take full advantage of everything that Pacejet has to offer integrated with Acumatica. We are also fulfilled by Acumatica. That means that we are on the price list. So if you ever are interested in Pacejet or want to take a look, get an idea on pricing, you can reach out to Mark Skelly. But your partners are also able to get some information as well. And you know that your contracts with Pacejet are going to be coterminous with your Acumatica contracts, because that is on Acumatica's contract, or it is on Acumatica's paper. Overall, customers who implement Pacejet integrated with Acumatica are able to save, on average, 30% in terms of a direct shipping cost reduction. That is really through rate shopping. So we're thinking about shipping spend, determining the lowest cost possible per shipment. And our customers are able to see some pretty significant cost savings there, but also with the reporting tools that are available in Pacejet, they're able to take the various costs that they've spent over a month, a quarter, a year, go to their reps with their carriers and say, all right, sharpen your pencils. I'm doing this much business with UPS or this much business with FedEx. What can you do to help lower my rates on a per shipment basis and ultimately lower your shipping spend? On top of the shipping cost reduction or the direct shipping spend reduction, the various workflows that are supported, the different features and capabilities that are available to automate shipping processes, typically have our customers see anywhere from 50 to almost 80% reduction in labor time and a 75% faster fulfillment time. Being able to automate transactions, removing any copy pasting, removing any manual steps to push information out or to actually pack and ship orders, whether that be domestic, international, parcel, or freight, helps to save a significant amount of time. We have tons of customers who are only managing, when they look at Pacejet, only one part of their shipping in an automated fashion. And once they implement, they're able to take all of the different shipping scenarios that they're processing and put all of those into one single workflow, automating the transaction of data, eliminating additional errors, and really saving a ton of time in the warehouse to actually pack and ship, saving a ton of time in the warehouse to be able to communicate with those carriers, and on the front end to be able to rate shop up front and determine the correct carrier and class of service before that order even hits the warehouse. Now, before we get into the demo, I just want to show this slide here real quick. We do have a number of different process flows that are supported. This is kind of a quick process flow overview to say the standard sales order, the order to cash cycle integrated with Acumatica. So Pacejet really is meant to handle orders of any type. And we have customers who are in direct manufacturing, distribution, retail, e-commerce. No matter the order channel, however those are being connected into Acumatica, Pacejet will allow you to rate shop from the sales order. You can also select things like preferred ship vias by customer. You can manage multiple third-party billing accounts by customer. Your picking is going to be Acumatica's standard functionality, or you can use Acumatica's WMS or a third-party WMS if you'd like. Now, in terms of packing and shipping, there's multiple ways that we can do things. Mark's going to show the packing and shipping done inside of the Pacejet interface. If anybody wants to see it, we can also show and a separate demo packing and shipping directly being done within Acumatica. And we leverage a lot of native Acumatica fields to be able to automate the transfer of information from Pacejet, but just know it is a very flexible integration to where you can ship entirely within Acumatica or manage all of your packing and shipping inside of Pacejet. And of course, make sure that the correct information is being filtered back to the shipments that you're processing. You've got all of the relevant data back in your single version of the truth, which is Acumatica. Of course, after shipments are processed, tracking features, analytics features, standard reports and ship optics, email pushes out to your inbox, tons of things are available. We won't go through that in a ton of detail today. We'll really focus on the process flow demo, but if anybody wants to see that in more detail, we're happy to set up a separate call after the fact. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to flip it over to Mark here for the demo. So Mark, feel free to take it away.
Thanks, Steve. Can you hear me, Steve?
I can hear you and I can see your screen. You're good to go.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. And I think that last screen really highlights the flexibility of Pacejet's workflows for shipping and packing. And with that being said, I'm only going to show a couple workflows or scenarios here. There are a lot more. So again, if the couple that we show here don't match your workflow or your scenario, feel free to reach out, and happy to show a demo tailored to your workflows, needs, and requirements. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show rate shopping at the sales order screen within Acumatica. And then we'll move over to Pacejet, and we'll pack and ship an LTL order. And then we'll show the right back to Acumatica. And then we'll hop back into Pacejet, and I will ship out a parcel shipment using our quick scan packing, where the user can solely use a scan gun and does not have to use a keyboard. So with that being said, we will rate shop at the sales order level here in our first workflow. So as you can see, we have a sales order in Acumatica pulled up. We're going to ship out some baby changing tables here. So if I want to get or find out how much it's going to cost either me or my customer to ship this out, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the shipping tab within Acumatica, and I'm going to click the shop for rates button. Now, once I click the refresh rate button, we are using Acumatica's auto pack. So we've got this shipment automatically packed onto a pallet. You can manually pack it or use the auto pack. So we've returned the rates. This is using Pacejet's connections, our APIs. It's ping Pacejet, who ping the carriers, let them know the weights, dimensions of the items to be shipped here. So you can see R&L returned a rate along with ABF, and they've returned the delivery date, days in transit, and even the amount. For this scenario, I'll just go ahead and go with ABF. I'm partial to them, so I'll go ahead and select that rate. Now you'll run through your standard scenario, right? I'm going to go ahead and create my shipment now. Select my warehouse. Now at this point, I'll go ahead and confirm this shipment. And once I confirm this shipment, it's going to actually kick it out to Pacejet's shipping workbench, where your warehouse representatives can then pack and ship the shipment. So if I go back out to our shipping workbench, this is Pacejet that you're seeing. This is Pacejet shipping workbench. Let's see. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can search or pull up your shipment to be, or your load to be shipped. So right here, mine is, I'm going to go ahead and click into it. You can use a scan gun, a quick search on the keyboard to pull up the order. But playing that role of the packer, shipper, or warehouse rep now, I'm going to go ahead and pack up and ship this LTL shipment in Pacejet using our drag and drop or packing. As you can see, we've pulled in the carrier class of service that was pre-selected at the sales order level. I can actually clear that out and re-rate shop against all carriers, or I can leave it as ABF. We pulled in the ship from, so your warehouse location, and then your customer ship to address. As you can see, we have pulled in the packing structure from Acumatica, that auto pack scenario. So I could go ahead and use this if that's how I actually packed it. Or if I'm going to pack it myself, I can go ahead and pack it. So I'm going to add a row. I'm going to go ahead and add a pallet. I'm going to click into our items to be packed here. You can see these items had pulled through. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop these items onto that pallet. I can hit done. I will go ahead and recalculate the weight from the ERP. If the weight's not in there, I can manually update this. Or if you have a USB or Bluetooth connected scale, I can pull the weight in off the scale. So once this shipment or orders packed and up how I'd like, I can go ahead and again re-rate shop this against all carriers and class of service, or I can just go ahead and click the rate and process button. Again, everything I did on this shipment can also be done via scan gun with barcodes and scanning. So at this point, Pacejet is tendering the carrier. We're letting ABF know that there's a load ready to be picked up. We're going to run an automatic print task to print off your documents such as your BOL, your shipping label, and a packing list. Pacejet's updating Acumatica, that shipment's record with the shipment information, the containers, items that were shipped, weights, and then of course the tracking, and then this shipment's complete. So the documents that would have printed off at your workstation or at your printer there, Pacejet's BOL would have printed. And here's our standard BOL. Depending on the carrier, we do support the carrier's BOL as well through the API. So this is Pacejet standard BOL. You can see we got the pronum on there. We've got your standard information, pallet, container, typical information that the carrier needs. And then your shipping label would have also printed. So there's a standard shipping label. And then your packing list. So all of these documents would have printed off automatically at your workstation or printer there. Now, if I go back to Acumatica, let's see. If I refresh this shipment screen, I'll go to the packages tab. You can see that Pacejet has written back the tracking number and the pallet or the packing back into Acumatica. On the shipping screen, we have updated the Pacejet status to complete. We've written back the pro bill number. We've written back the ship via, and then we've also written back the freight cost and or the freight price. So the freight cost could be your cost that the carrier charges you, and Pacejet gives you the ability to mark it up by a flat fee or by a percentage, and that would be the freight price or your customer's price. And so that is completing the shipment, packing and shipping in Pacejet with that data automatically being written back to the shipments within Acumatica. Now, if I go out to Pacejet, and I'll go ahead and use my scan gun now, and I'm going to scan my next order that's on my workbench to be packed and shipped. So I've scanned my order. It's going to pull up the order details. And you can see with our quick scan or our quick ship, it's automatically going to pull up that packing structure or the items to be packed. So now playing that role of the packer and shipper, I've got my scan gun in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and scan the packing or the changing table. So I'll scan 1, 2. So I've scanned both items over. And now I'm going to scan a large box that I packed them into. And now I'm not doing anything on the keyboard or the scanner. Pacejet is automatically going to send that information out to FedEx. We're going to pull back in, again, the cost, the price, that information, let FedEx know the shipment's ready to be picked up. We've run our print tests, so our documents have printed off, and we are going to write back to Acumatica again, that shipment information, and then this shipment's complete. I could go ahead and scan my next order. As you can see, the quick search box is up, so I could scan the next order and continue packing. Again, our box label or container label would have printed, so that carrier label would have printed there automatically at this workstation. And then again, our packing list and any other associated documents with this shipment would have also printed. And that is a quick way to pack and ship a shipment out using our quick ship scanning, where the user can, again, use that scanner and barcodes without ever touching the mouse or keyboard. And Steve, with that, I think we'll move it on to the giveaway, and then interested in any questions that came up from this quick demo or information that you talked about earlier.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so just to recap that again, I know we talked a little bit about the flexibility available with the Pacejet integration with Acumatica. So there are a lot of different ways to be able to pack things. Whether it's our drag and drop, whether it's our scan pack, quick scan, going all the way up to multi-level. The one thing that we didn't look at was the packing and shipping inside of Acumatica. So if anybody wants to see that, we're more than happy to walk through in a separate demo. But thanks, Mark. That was a helpful look. What I will do now, I know we mentioned this a little bit earlier, is we have a Acumatica Summit giveaway. So we're giving away an Orca cooler to one of the folks who stopped by the booth here last week. We did a drawing here just a little bit earlier today. And I am excited to announce that the winner is actually attending this webinar, so that's pretty exciting. It's actually Hillary at Ader Flag Company. So Hillary, we will reach out to you and make sure that we get your info so we can send this cooler out to you. Hopefully that lets you enjoy some time with a little bit of summer left. Get outside, bring the cooler with you, pop a couple of drinks in there, and have yourself a nice little afternoon. But I do want to say thanks again for everybody for joining. We mentioned here at the beginning, we're saving some time at the end for some questions. So if anybody does have any questions, I know we mentioned to pop those in the chat. So we'll give everybody a minute here to pop in any questions that they may have on top of, I see a couple in here already, but we'll wait a couple of seconds to give some folks some time to put in any questions based on what you saw in either the demo or in the previous presentation. And again, if there are any detailed questions, people want to talk through anything and really scrub things down, we'll follow up individually with everybody as well. So we make sure to get your questions answered there. But I do see one coming up in the chat. Looks like, can Pacejet support multiple third-party billing accounts for a customer? Mark, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. Absolutely. Pacejet can absolutely support multiple third-party accounts for the customer. And we can even, look at it based on the global or headquartered company setting, or based on the ship to location on for what third-party account number we're going to pull, and that's based on the carrier as well. So short answer is, yep, we can support multiple third-party account numbers for your customers.
Thanks, Mark. Looks like we have another one here. What international paperwork does Pacejet handle? I can answer this one. I think Mark mentioned it really quickly, but we'll generate your standard, we call it a standard set of documents, or your Pacejet standard documents. That includes commercial invoice, export packing list, certificate of origin, USMCA certificate of origin. We can generate a shipper's letter of instruction. All of that uses detail that's pulled in from Acumatica on the item master record. But we can also create documents in addition to the standard report set if customers need it. So if you have things like declaration pages or whatnot, we can take a look at, is it supported with the standard documents that we generate out of the box, or do we need to create a document for you to generate for any of those shipments? But just know that anytime we do print international documents, it's only for international shipments. Same thing with a parcel or LTL shipment. The only time you're going to get a BOL is if it's an LTL shipment that's been processed. You will also only get your carrier labels or your shipping labels and packing lists for parcel shipments where needed. So if anybody has any questions or wants to scrub that down a little bit further, feel free to reach out. And I do see one other question. I see, how does Pacejet handle independent or regional carriers not associated with an API? Can we place a group bid to several carriers at one time? So spot bids aren't necessarily supported with Pacejet. If we think about regional carriers or those carriers that do not have APIs, there are multiple ways that we can support those. Typically, those carriers that don't have APIs are managed on a Zarlite table basis. So if you have a tariff table, if you have rate tables that you want to set up specific to that carrier, we can set that up. We can set you up with ProBill packs so that ProBill numbers automatically generate as you process. Pacejet, similar to your standard sticker roll where you slap it on a pallet. So that is how we manage those carriers without APIs. Those absolutely are able to be generated in Pacejet and will show up in Pacejet just like any other API rated carrier. We're just hitting that rate table for that rate, so it shows up alongside the rest of them. But at this point, spot bidding full truckload is not currently supported. It is something that we're looking at adding here shortly down the line. So once we have additional updates on that process, we will be sure to let you know. And I see one final question. How do I get pricing?
I'll take that, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as Steve had mentioned earlier, Pacejet is fulfilled by Acumatica, so we are on their price list. So your partner or VAR could help you with pricing there. Or of course, you can always reach out to myself. Glad to have a quick 10, 15-minute conversation, 30-minute discovery call so that I understand your needs and requirements. And then based on that conversation, I can provide some budgetary numbers or pricing and go from there and get you priced appropriately.
Awesome. Oh, see another one popped up here. How does Pacejet handle multiple shipping locations? So what we'll do is we set up specific facility codes for your different locations. We are cloud-based, so you don't have to have a separate install per location. You can manage Pacejet. You have your single Pacejet instance, but we will set up facility IDs based on the warehouse or the shipping location that is sent in from Acumatica that will automatically map to that specific facility ID. So you know that your correct carrier accounts are being selected if you have a specific, let's say, parcel account per warehouse, and the correct ship from information is being sent out to the carrier. So you get accurate rates, build on the right accounts, as well as setting up maybe some facility specific rules. If you need specific paperwork for a specific facility, specific brands for a specific facility, we can manage all that as well. And we can go into that in a little bit more detail. We'll make sure to follow up on that question separately. Give everybody another minute here, see if we get any more questions. It looks like that might be it. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. I appreciate everybody's time. Thanks for joining here. I hope this was a helpful first look. Again, this was a high-level walkthrough. Wanted to give everybody a quick follow-up after those that we were able to speak with at the booth last week. But for those that we didn't get to speak with who joined today, very happy you were able to join. I hope this was a helpful look. And like we said, we'll follow up on any of the specific questions to set up some time to scrub things down a little bit further. If anybody wants to see a more in-depth demo, feel free to reach out, but we will be in touch with everybody here shortly. And then Hillary, we will reach out to get your information so you can we can get that cooler shipped out to you. But otherwise, I appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully this was a helpful look. Have a great rest of your Thursday and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
You did it.